Michael, I asked you earlier whether or not you'd seen a race this close before.
I certainly haven't, and to be fair, lots of Americans haven't seen a race so desperately close, this close to Election Day. I'm outside the White House, where you'll hear the soundtrack being warmed up ahead of a rally tonight by the Vice President Kamala Harris, and of course the Democratic Party's nominee. And there you see people starting to gather on the stretch of lawn behind the White House. Local authorities here are expecting up to 50,000 people to attend a rally where Kamala Harris's team say the Vice President will make her essentially closing argument to the American people, to those who have yet to make up a decision on who to vote for at next Tuesday's election. I'm joined here on the National Mall by the ABC's North America correspondent Carrington Clark. Carrington, great to see you. The choice of location, that stretch of lawn, is very significant. Why is that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, not only does it look beautiful, and obviously this is an historic place, but it allows the Vice President to draw a very clear contrast with the man she's competing with for the US President. That is former President Donald Trump. It was here at the area called the Ellipse that Donald Trump infamously addressed his supporters on January the 6th, 2021. At that point, he was the defeated candidate in the 2020 race. He defiantly kept questioning that result, and it was here that he ordered his supporters to march down that way to the US Capitol. A mob of his supporters then violently attacked the US Capitol, and it was really one of the darkest days in US democracy. It has been a major part of the Democratic campaign. They are not only campaigning on things like abortion rights and that what they say will be the restoration of the Roe v. Wade right to abortion here in the United States, but also on this concept that Donald Trump is a threat to the US democracy. And what we've heard from the people who have already assembled here waiting, some of perhaps up to 50,000 people who will be in attendance today, is that they really hope that Kamala Harris is able to win over Donald Trump in what is a desperately close election.
I hope it's an effective message, because I think it will be very, very different. And I think that's probably what she's going to play off of. Probably not directly, but hopefully people have a long enough memory that they're able to put two and two together.
I came out for a number of reasons. I want Kamala Harris and Ross to win, and for freedom, for women's rights, for be able to continue to voice our opinions.
I think it's a move full of chutzpah, don't you think? This is going to be a place of joy where, 4 years ago it was a place that wanted to destroy democracy. So to make her final remarks here in a place right across from the Washington Monument, and fill this place with the joyous energy that this campaign has, I think it's a strong message to send in.
Some very happy Kamala Harris supporters gathering behind us, Carrington, for this rally tonight. With days to go before the election, Kamala Harris still has some challenges to get through to that vanishingly small number of Americans who haven't made up a decision as to who to vote for. And one of those, according to Amy Dacey, who is a former head of the Democratic National Committee, I spoke to her earlier, Amy Dacey says Kamala Harris has a higher hurdle to jump because she is a woman.
I think, unfortunately, we still see some bits of misogyny, in this election cycle. As somebody who worked to elect women for several, years, you still see aspects of that. It's always hard when we still have firsts, in this country, but it also can be an inspiring thing for young women that are voting, for communities of color. So how you lean into that and make it, a real incredible advantage in this election is what she's also looking at as well.
Amy Dacey, a former Chief Executive Officer of the Democratic National Committee. So that is what Kamala Harris is up to. Meanwhile, Donald Trump, Carrington, has been defending his rather controversial appearance at Madison Square Garden in New York a couple of days ago.
Yeah, Donald Trump is painting this as a massive success. He wanted to return to his home state of New York, even though there's almost no chance that New York is going to vote for him in the presidential election. But he was able to draw tens of thousands of supporters to the heart of New York. But it's been overshadowed not by what comments Donald Trump made, but one of the guest speakers, Tony Hinchcliffe, described the United States territory of Puerto Rico as a floating pile of garbage. Now, he says it's a joke, it's his type of humour, but there are real questions about why the Republican Party didn't perhaps better vet what jokes were being told. And there has been this kind of desperate search in America since those comments have been made about where the Puerto Ricans actually are, particularly in those key swing states, because although Puerto Rico, as a US territory, does not vote in the presidential election. It doesn't get any votes in the Electoral College. Those Puerto Ricans who live in other US states do get to cast a vote. And one of those key swing states with a large Puerto Rican population is Pennsylvania. And that's exactly where Donald Trump will be campaigning today. So we're watching to see whether or not there is a reaction. But Donald Trump today just describing Madison Square Garden as a love fest and said that he was honoured to be there.
Slightly awkward timing, his visit to Pennsylvania indeed. Carrington Clark, thank you so much.